Good morning from day 2 of the day at Le Mans at the Place de République, the second and final day of the Passage, the scrutineering here. Before we get into all of that, though, with thanks to Cooper Tyres and with thanks to our friends at the Justice Brothers, and in particular, our thanks to Ginetta, who are joining us as a naming sponsor for the day at Le Mans for the remainder of this week, and they've got some exciting news later on in the week, this Le Mans 24 Hours week. It is no fewer than 40 of the 62 cars will be making their way through the documentation and the administrative checks today, so it is going to be back-to-back stuff on what is not the brightest of mornings, although a bit of sunshine just peeking its way through the clouds as I speak, and as Bruno van der Stick starts to fire up the stage for the public that are just beginning to assemble on what is a public holiday here in France. We'll be with you throughout the day here with interviews with some of the significant participants, either in the car or by the car, for the Le Mans 24 Hours 2019, the 87th running of the great race. I'm Graham Goodwin. I'll be joined by Stephen Kilbey from dailysportscar.com. We'll talk to you throughout the day.
I've got Bill Riley with me here now. He's helping run the magnificent-looking Keating Motorsports wins-backed Ford GT and GTM. Bill, you've got to be looking forward to this one. My goodness.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the car is gorgeous. You know, we have working with Ben Keating and Jeroen and Felipe, as we do in the U.S. is great. And working with the Ganassi team is a real pleasure. They've helped us a lot to get up to speed. And then obviously now it's up to us to deliver.
How much work has had to go in behind the scenes? Can you quantify it just to get this off the ground? This is the first, obviously, customer-run Ford that we've seen.
Well, the way that the deal was structured with Keating Motorsports and Ganassi is the car came to us pretty much turnkey. So we're just really doing all the maintenance on it right now, and just doing setup work on it, like a normal team would. But they delivered us a running car ready to go.
And how did the test day go for you guys? Obviously, it's not about pace at this point, but just making sure that Felipe and Ben get acclimatized to both the car around the circuit. Yeah,
that's exactly what we did. Is we just made sure everybody. Felipe had to get his minimum laps in, so we got that done. Got that checked off the list. Ben and Jeroen got comfortable in the car. So it's really a true, one of my more true test days where we just kind of ticking the boxes that we wanted to get done. Obviously, we wanted to be more towards the pointy end of the grid, but it didn't happen. We didn't get a chance to really go after a mock run, but the pace of the car was strong, we felt, so we should be okay.
Do you enjoy engineering this car? I mean, it still feels like a new car to me, but obviously it's coming to the end of its life as a factory car. It's still mighty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, Tyler Hook is a chassis engineer for Keating Motorsports, and is also, he works full-time for us back in the States on the other programs we run. So he's really doing the chassis engineering, but the car is impressive. It's a beautiful car, beautifully made. It's really a nice vehicle.
What do you think about the competition in this year? This is arguably the best it's ever been, and it feels like we say that every single year, but we've got a bit more variety than normal with you guys coming along. But up and down the order, there's some incredibly strong teams, isn't there?
Yeah, I do, for sure. I mean, we'll see how the cars stack up because there's so many different things that go on that, but I'm really, really excited about our driver lineup versus some of the others. We have a real strong lineup with Fraga and Keating. We should be real strong.
When I spoke to Ben when he first sort of announced this program, he hadn't really had much time in the car. But he was incredibly excited about getting the chance to campaign this here because there's a lot of history behind the Ford GT.
Right.
And he loves his racing. He's an incredibly passionate guy. Is he enjoying this as much as I think he thought he would?
I think he is. For sure. He's enjoying the relationship with Ganassi and with Ford, and obviously the relationship that continues on with Wins. And, the team is surrounded with all the normal people that run his cars in the U.S., so it's a lot of familiar faces for him. I think he's enjoying it quite a bit.
What do you think is going to be the key to strategy here this year? We've seen slight differences in the way they're going to handle things like full cost yellows, safety cars, and that sort of stuff. How much difference is there going to be in the racing that we're going to see?
Well, it's going to be flat out. It's normal here at Le Mans. I kind of say like Daytona's about power and Sebring's about the car and Le Mans about being perfect. So you have to be perfect with everything, and that's really the key.
And weather-wise, what do you think? The forecast doesn't look great, but it looks like the race is going to be dry. And is that what you'd want at this point?
I think so. With a new car, with us being a hair unfamiliar with it, a dry race would be better for us. But we're not really sure on how well the car will perform in the wet. I'm sure it's very good, but compared to our others, so I mean a dry race for us would be fine.
Perfect. So have a great week, Bill.
Thank you.
Stoffel Vandoorne, welcome to the Le Mans 24 Hours. Is this a race you've thought about much in your career so far?
Well, it's always been a race which I've been following a lot every year because it's one of the big ones in motorsport, and I wasn't necessarily expecting to be here already this early in my career, but the opportunity came, and it came in very good conditions with LMP1 team, SMP Racing. So I'm very happy to have my first experience here this weekend.
Made your debut, of course, on ground at Spa. Impressed greatly there. You looked like you enjoyed that, despite perhaps the conditions that were dealt out. An extraordinary race.
Yeah, it was a great achievement, I think, for my first experience with the car. I had never driven the car before, so there's always a little bit of a question mark. How it is going to be. I've usually been pretty good with adapting to new cars and conditions and stuff, and it went very well. I felt comfortable straight away. We had a good race, really kind of every condition possible. So I think it was a very good preparation before this weekend.
You've had a chance to see this extraordinary circuit. You are now officially the fastest man ever in WC history here at 350 kilometres an hour plus. Tell us a little about that first experience of the Circuit de la South.
It was a very good one. I've done a lot of homework before coming here in terms of looking videos, getting information from the team, from my teammates, everyone, and I felt comfortable straight away, which was positive, and that's something you need, going to a new track. Especially when you're going to be racing on for 24 hours. So it was important to get that initial good feeling. I had that straight away, but there's still a lot of tricks I have to discover. I mean, the track will evolve massively during the week. Conditions look like they might be very tricky this week as well. So it's going to be going with the flow, adapting to all the conditions, and really not making mistakes. That's going to be a challenge.
Two final questions. First one is about qualifying. There's already been some of the guys from Toto said they think perhaps one of the non-hybrids might be able to get in amongst the action for front row. From what you've seen so far, from what you're being told from within the team, how much in hand have you guys got?
Well, I think everyone probably still has a bit in hand after the test day. I think things will change over the week, but then again, it's about managing traffic, managing the tires. There are so many qualifying sessions. We need to be there at the right time, and that's what's going to count in the end. So with the conditions like they look, it might be interesting. We'll see. We just got to stay focused and maximise all the opportunities.
And the follow-up question, of course, is about the great race itself, Saturday into Sunday, something you've never experienced before. What's your mindset going into that challenge?
I'm very much looking forward to it. I mean, it's going to be a long race. It's my first experience over such a long distance, so it'll be challenging. That's for sure. But I'm up for the challenge. I think I've prepared well for this event, and I know what I can do. Now the only thing that's left is go for it.
Getting on towards lunchtime, and well, the GTE Pro car is about to go through, and it's the only single car team. And standing in front of me now in his shades, I don't know why, because it's absolutely horrible out there. Pipo Derani, welcome back to Le Mans. How many times now here for you?
This will be my fifth, so yeah, really looking forward. Always a pleasure at Le Mans.
Now, two things to say about this Risi Competizione, a team with fantastic history here, but also fantastic looking art car livery on that.
Yeah, it's good. It's the first time I have an art car, if you can put it that way. Last year my Ferrari was a little bit different, which was great, but I think a real art car is the first time. So yeah, I'm really happy to be with Risi, continue my job that I started with Ferrari last year. A lot of trust from them in sending me over here, since the third car is not back from last year. And it couldn't be any happier, because I think it's a car that has shown a lot of success, not only here but in America, and the car is very well prepared, and it's just one of those deals that I had a smile once I signed, and I'm really looking forward for this week.
You're getting a bit of a name in the world of sports car racing for a man who can drive anything quickly, competitively, and be right there at the front of the pack. The LMP2, the old style, the new style, DPI and GTE as well. Which do you enjoy the most?
Well, I think it's fair to say that I'm really enjoying DPI. I think it's a fantastic series. It's a fantastic format, and it's just growing more and more. And I mean, I'm leading the championship. How not to enjoy that? But for me as a driver, I really enjoy jumping from one car to another because it just makes me better every time. And it's always hard. For example, when I come to Le Mans and I jump straight away into a GT after 12 months without driving one, it's never easy. But you just have to adapt so quickly and make the switch on your mind that you're driving now a different car. But I think that just makes me stronger. Every time I come back to my normal car, to my DPI, I'll be that tiny bit quicker, I think. And it's fantastic. It's another great opportunity. Like I said, Le Mans is always very special. I still need to tick that box, and to come back here every year, it's like I said, it's great. I don't want to come back here just to be here. I want to come back here with a chance, and I think this year, even though we are a single car team, I think we have a good chance. So we'll work hard for it.
It's a very different looking driver squad. We've got Ollie Jarvis standing behind you there. He's very much up for the fight. We had a long chat with Ollie at the test day. What do you think you can bring to this fight? There is no weak links in that sort of 17 car field. No weak links at all.
Yeah, I think it's. If you put it this way, I don't expect any single car team to come to DPI and beat me. So I know that those teams that do this full time, they're not expecting us to beat them. But what I can say is that even if, and I don't think that's gonna happen, but even if we are not as quick as the other cars who are doing this race after race, we will definitely put a good show, and we will be there at the end. So. Our position right now is no mistakes, drive quickly, and you don't have to be this extremely quick, but be there at the end. And I think with that mentality, we'll definitely have a good race. Obviously, we are trying to have our benchmark as the factory Ferraris who have been racing WEC for the past years, and we weren't that far off at the test, considering that it's the first time the three of us drive the car. So I think there's more to come during this race week.
Final question is, how did this all come together? It is an unusual looking squad. It's the Risi Competizione, massive history in the States, but with French influence as well here. That's brought Jules Gunon to the effort. How did this team of three drivers get drawn together to this?
Well, to be fair to you, I really don't know. I think I was probably the first one to be signed since I have some relationship with Ferrari that has been a big influence in me joining the team, and I knew there were some discussions of who were going to join, and Jules Gunon makes a big sense because of obviously being French, but he's also been driving very, very well in Blancpain with Bentley. So, and Jarvis, it's a fantastic.
He's not bad,
Yeah, I think he's not bad. Yeah. He's just Brit, but he's not bad.
Few grey hairs now, but not bad.
That's the sign of experience.
I think so.
I hope when I get to that point, people will look at me and say, "This guy is."
At least 2 decades to come.
Yes. So, no, but fantastic opportunity to. I've never raced with Ollie, just against him, and he's never been an easy opponent. So to have him on my side, it's great. With Jules, he's been doing well, like I said, and I think it's. And he's a proper GT driver, so that always helps a little bit. Having a guy who's been doing just this, I think it can be a plus for our team. So really happy, like I said, to be back with Ferrari, continuing a job that I started last year, and hopefully I can represent this brand again to the best of my abilities and have a good and strong result.
Pipo, enjoy the day. The fans are here to see you guys, the drivers, these fantastic cars. I know that's something you always get a buzz out of. First target for the day is the man with the most experience of this great race here this year, Olivier Beretta. 23rd consecutive race starts, 24th appearance. I think there was a non-qualification right at the beginning,
yes.
Otherwise it would be the mythical 24. How does this race shape up now compared to when you started here just over 2 decades ago?
The track has been changing a lot in a good way. ICO did a good job on the safety-wise. The evolution of the car has been grew up quite a lot. The only thing that I don't like at all is the balance of performance. And I think everyone know. No one talk about because it's not a good way to say things. But at one point of my career, I'm going to say it. It's totally unacceptable. I have been raced up with the way that the best car, the best driver, the best team, the best mechanic, the best strategy should win. And today, as a result, sometimes it's not the best team, it's not the best car, it's not the best engine. It's just a question of balance of performance. And I think this is a shame for the motorsport. I understand that everyone has to race each other. This there is no question. But it's too easy for not a good car to be a good car just for the balance of performance. I think the constructor who wants to enter competition has to face how it's difficult to be competitive and not just go and talk and have the BOP for you and 10 kilometers on the main straight, and it's just because you do a lot of marketing that you are looking good. No. You have the fast car, you are in the first place. You have a slow car, you are on the second place. And that's it.
Looking back again, over 20 plus years now, what are the big memories? What are the really happy memories for you here with factory teams galore you've been part of here at the Le Mans 24 Hours? Well, a couple of really of the better memories for you.
It's a difficult question to answer because all my pro time was with a factory car and very good driver, good teammate, good mechanics, good car. Lucky to have won 6 times and.
Come on, you're not lucky to win 6 times. That's an offer.
You need to have a little luck because sometimes we were second and the race give us the first place. Sometimes I was first and I lose it 4 times. So luck is part of the game. Of course, you have to do your job. You have to have a good time, a good car, good team, good mechanics. But it's difficult to pick up one. We won 3 times in a row, to 4, to 5, to 6. I did podium with all the manufacturers that I raced. Only second place with Ferrari, but I could not take one particular race that I should say this is the one. All my 20 years, all my podium has been great.
2 more quick questions. One is about you have been a proud standard bearer for Monaco throughout your time here. I think it's a record year for the number of Monegasque drivers. We have 5 with yourself and Stephane and the 3 guys in the Porsche. That's quite something.
Yeah, like I said, I never raced for record, but it's good to know that I have been there since 95. I am still enjoying, and it's good for the Monaco town that we are a little country, but we are quite active in motorsport. In Formula 1 now with Charles and few other racer driver who came in Le Mans. So we are small, but we are quite there.
We're here at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. It's 23 Le Mans 24 Hours in a row, which is quite something. Last year, we saw Manu Calado just fall at the final fence. He didn't get his 24th consecutive race. Have you got plans to be back in place for next year?
Yes, I will be there next year. And I think maybe Manu too. So I know Manu since a long time. We raced together in the Corvette. We were leading the race until the Peugeot getting out of hit us and getting out of the race. He's a good guy. And we are all together today, but we are nearly same on the starting grid.
And is that going to be with our friend at MR Racing? Are we going to see a return to the WEC from that same squad, or is there another reshuffle?
No, I don't know if he'll return. I just wish he will be there, but me, I will definitely be there with MR Racing.
Olivier Beretta, enjoy that 23rd Le Mans, and we hope you're back for number 24 next year. Stephane Sarrazin back at Le Mans for how many times now?
18.
Every driver knows immediately how many times they've been here. It's an extraordinary thing.
Yeah, because we have time to think about. And My teammate asked me last week how many times you did it, so easy to remember.
There's a gap in your CV. It's been a fantastic racing CV. Formula One, World Rally, this race time and time again, but as yet no overall win. And okay, the odds look like they're maybe not going to be with you, or are they?
Yeah, unfortunately I did many times Le Mans with an incredible car, with Peugeot time. I was leading, I don't know how many times, but engine broke, mistakes, gearbox issue. I finished 4 times second. Toyota 6 times. I was leading 2 or 3 times, and easy race to win. I mean, the race was down. We had Kobayashi clutch and crashes second year. So yeah, I could have won, but many drivers could have won Le Mans. So it's a part of the game, and I did a lot of podium, and I took a lot of pleasure to drive here. And I'm still in a very good car this year.
I guess that's the question. You, more than any other man here, knows that this race decides who wins. This is what decides who wins. A privateer can't be counted out here, can they?
Hey, exactly. Le Mans decide, we say all the time. So it's 24 hours. Everything can happen. Even if we are not the fastest, some years Audi won and they were far behind us with Peugeot. Porsche, same case with Toyota. And Toyota should win easily because they have so big experience and so many tests. With SMP, we don't do any test of 24 hours. It's too expensive, and we just race. So we test a bit, but just a bit. And we have a good car, very fast. So I'm concentrate on my driving with my teammates. We need to make a clean race, and we'll see what's happened. But 3 years ago, it was LMP2 was almost winning the race. So we never know. Yeah.
Let's talk just briefly about qualifying. There's clearly massive speed in your car. We've seen some of the testing times, we've seen some of the speed. Stoffel, 350 kilometres an hour cleared there. What could happen? Is it possible that you could get amongst the Toyotas for a qualifying lap?
No, I don't think so. Toyotas, they are very strong on quali for one lap with a quali boost, and it's very good cars they have. So if we are 2 or 3 seconds behind, it will be good.
Final question for me is about the evolution of this team and this car and this programme. It's been an 18-month season. It's the end of a very long season here at Le Mans. But things seem to be coming along strongly towards the end of this year.
Yeah, very strong team. They have a very good experience of single-seater and the DTM. And last year we started here at Le Mans. It was quite difficult with all the Le Mans specification, I will say. Now they are used to it. They did a big step immediately last year, and they are very strong, very quick to react. They know the car very well, and now I'm impressed by the team.
We talked just a moment ago about some of the fantastic factory cars you've driven. The reality is the lap times that these cars, the non-hybrid cars, are putting in now are quicker than those factory cars.
Yeah, it's amazing. We last week we did a 322. It's already very, very quick. This week we'll go quicker if it's dry. Yeah, it's impressive. The car are incredible. When I'm driving, I'm thinking, wow, it's so fast and so good to drive these cars. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky because I enjoy a lot, and it's really a proper race car.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time, Stephane Sarrazin. Good luck with the DragonSpeed boys. And arrived in spectacular new overalls in a car with, well, I'd say a new colour scheme. It's a very old colour scheme. Golf colours was a surprise for most here this morning. We're going to ask Henrik Edman how that one happened in just a moment. Henrik's looking as if he has no idea. But Ben Hanley, Renger van der Zande, and indeed Henrik Edman. It's been some year for the team. This will be the last race in LMP1 for DragonSpeed, certainly for the time being. Quite sad to see you guys go.
Yeah, we're sad to see it end, but it's obviously, with the Gulf colours, it's pretty iconic to end on this note. So it's really, really cool livery, cool brand to have on the car. So it's going to be an amazing experience.
Henrik, I'll ask the question. You're hopefully going to tell me you know the answer. Just how late did this all come together? Clearly not late enough that you couldn't get fully branded overalls and a fully branded car.
No, I think the talks start back actually at the Indy 500. But then from there, I don't know what happened. They just asked me if it was if I liked the idea, and I said yes, and now we're here.
You've seen the car. I've actually not yet seen the car because I've been stuck in here talking to famous racing drivers. But tell me, when you saw the car first completed, what did you reckon?
I mean, it's obviously I love the 10-star with the stripes and everything, but this is special, and especially here at Le Mans, it looks really, really good. There's going to be a lot of photos been taken on that car just because the look of it, and hopefully because we're quick too. But you know.
Well, I should expect that too. Renger. Well, here we are back again at Le Mans. The ever-smiling Renger van der Zande. Tell us what you expect from this great race.
I mean, we're enjoying the moment right now. It's a cool event. It's a nice atmosphere. I think with the whole Gulf livery. If I look back at those Le Mans movies, there was always this car on TV. So I think we're gonna have a lot of airtime. But apart from that, I think the racing is still the important part. Our goal should be to finish this race, and who knows what happens. I think if the others run in trouble, we might have a shot at being in the top 3 or whatever on the podium. So that would be fantastic. But I think we all need to keep dreaming and see if dreams come true at the end. But it's going to be a tough one, that's for sure.
Well, we've been taking a bit of a vote in the media here. We think you're looking a bit like the young Jackie X. There's look a little bit like Derek Bell, and obviously Steve McQueen is Henrik Edman.
Obviously.
But
I think nice one. I like that.
I think you guys are going to have some fun with this.
Yeah, well, it's a Legends team already.
Well, LMP1 is clearly the glamour category. This is what the fans come to see here for the most part at the Le Mans 24 Hours. And this look has vaulted this to be an immediate fan favourite, Ben.
Yep. We thought it would be because it's so cool. Everyone recognises it. Everyone knows it's iconic. So, like Renger said, we've got to focus on getting to the end of the race. So we've had a lot of electrical problems with the car in the past, but hopefully we can put them behind us and have a solid run.
If anybody's to be thanked for this effort, it's you, Henrik Edman. It's obviously your drive, your passion that's brought this together. It's the end of this adventure. Obviously, IndyCar adventures to come, and we'll be seeing you continuing what's been already a winning season in the ELMS. It's a quick thank you for doing that, for starters, for everybody who loves sports car racing. And one thing to reflect on. Your team has already won races in LMP2 in 3 different championships this year. It's a pretty unique achievement in IMSA, in the LMS and in the WEC. What next?
I don't know. Of course, it's full concentration on the ELMS season this year. We didn't have the best race in Monza, but we'll come back stronger, and because I think there we can be contenders towards the end. So that's the main goal this season, apart from Le Mans 24, of course. Next year I'm looking to hopefully continue with the ELMS, depending on the result this year, and hopefully do some single races in WEC. There are some very interesting tracks that I would like to do, and of course like to go back here to Le Mans, but let's see if we get an invite first, and then it's full focus on the IndyCar program for sure. There might be some surprises coming, but that's where my main focus is. But I need to find someone that's got more money than me to help out.
Sounds to me like that's DragonSpeed to Dakar Rally confirmed, guys.
Yeah, no. We'll see. No, but it's. I see a lot of friends from Corsi Cliente that are here now doing Le Mans as gentleman drivers, and I would like to just like it's good for the sports that we do have the passion and interest, and then we are here, because not everybody can be Toyota, Porsche, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Ford. So someone has to step in and put down the time and the money to make it happen, and some of the organizers should think about that a little bit more.
I think that was the final question I was going to ask, and on that theme is, for guys like you that come and bring your passion, for that matter the finance, the commercial punch that allow us to get these fantastic programs, is enough being done to encourage a new generation of passionate gentleman drivers into the sport?
I think it depends what series you go to. And I know the series, they have a big problem. For instance, WEC, because you have the pro teams, and then you have the AM teams. And it's hard to, because you got to treat them a little bit different. I understand that, and that's tough. But in ELMS, it works really well. I can't say, I mean, I really enjoy ELMS. But then IndyCar, of course, it's a different story. And it's USA, so there's a reason why I live in the US. So.
We'll leave it at that for now. Enjoy this week, gentlemen. Enjoy it in the paddock. Enjoy it with the fan interaction, as you're going to get an awful lot of that. And most of all, enjoy the race.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming to the end of the second day of 2 days of scrutineering here in the Place de la République in the centre of Le Mans. And amongst the last teams through, in fact the last major team through, is going to be the Chip Ganassi Fords from both the UK and the US contingents, the four GTs plus the private entry from Keating Motorsports, all in these fabulous heritage liveries. The last word from today at Le Mans will go to Multimatic's Larry Holt. Larry, it's been a short, it seems to us, but pretty illustrious career for the Ford GT.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was 4 years the first time around, and the original arrangement, the original deal with Ford was it was going to be 2 years, and to give them their due, they extended that to 4 years, which at the time when it went to 4 years, I thought that's a pretty long commitment, and although now, you know, in the last the last time here, it seems like yesterday we were here, and it seems like the day before yesterday we were here in 2016. So. Time flies, especially when you get old like me. Time starts really telescoping, you know. So I have a vague recollection of 2016, but yeah, it seems not that long ago. But it was 4 years the first time, and it's 4 years the second time.
There's some synchronicity there. We've got Ben Keating with, now what you can say, his car. And the first time we've seen a Ford GT in GTM. Beyond that car, what can you tell us? Is this the end? Is there more prospect of anything happening with these fantastic cars with other customers here or elsewhere?
Well, I think there's a lot of potential for customer programs, both in not just AM like Ben's doing, but potentially pro as well, because we've had a ton of interest in the cars and in wanting to potentially run them as privately run, like I said, either pro or AM cars. So I would say it's not over for sure. I mean, Ben said this is a one-off to do this, but he changes his mind quite a bit as well. So. And he has in the past. I mean, Bill Riley and I go back a long time. I think it's great to have Bill here running a car with us, and so there's some synchronicity to that whole thing too. So I would say, there's a better chance that it'll continue. The car will continue. I mean, Ford's made their statement that that was the deal, was 4 years. But actually, if you really go back to the 60s, it was 2 years factory and 2 years semi-privateer deal with JW Automotive with the golf cars. So I could see that happening.
I'll ask the question because there's a few machinations and movements in the background in a different class in WEC beyond the point where everybody had been told the drawbridge had come up for next season. Is there any chance of anything for a season long in the WEC for 2019-2020?
Well, I've been working really hard actually with a customer, a guy I've done business with for years and years, and in fact I've been asking the ACO because the deadline came up and those. That customer, and actually there's a few guys looking at the bigger class with the potential of, say, filling in with GT. But as you know, that all has been that's drawn on so long, and the uncertainty of it has put some people off. So the timing of the WEC entry and finishing the rules for the future, they've been too close together. It hasn't given anybody any time to look at, okay, maybe now I'm interested in that, I'll do something next year. But now it's been like, wait, deadline's over, can't do something next year. So I think the timing of the deadline and the whatever's going to happen in the future with the rules, those things haven't aligned very well.
And that's hurt the prospects of us seeing the cars back.
Yeah, unless somebody actually does step up and we can go and maybe beg on our bended knees to potentially have an entry. It depends on how much they want it or not.
Let's wait and see. I think we've got some interesting times coming on Friday. Beyond that, with Multimatic, we've seen the Mustang program in the UK. How are things going with the GT4?
Well, you just caught me. We were at Silverstone on the weekend. I would say from a performance perspective, I was pretty happy with the way it turned out. We finished third in GT4 behind two of the gold bronze cars. In that particular, we have this 14-second differential on pit stop time in the UK series, and so which is in a 1 hour race. We had 3 pit stops yesterday, which put us, that's a fair bit of time to go down 42 seconds in the pits in a 3 hour race. But at the end of the day, we finished the third 18 seconds behind the leader, so we made a good lot of that up. We unfortunately got a 30-second pit stop penalty there at the end due to Sebi got a bit excited going out of pits there. I did some stuff with slowing down and speeding up and that, but really enjoying it. I mean, the series, I got to say, the series is really, really healthy. It's well run. Great competition. There's a bit too much rubbing, but that's okay. Where I come from, that's okay. I had Harrison Newey in the car yesterday. He was a bit freaked out about it. But I think we've got a lot of customers coming to us now wanting to do that. So I think Mustang's going to take a hold here in Europe in GT4. That's good. We're obviously heavily involved with the Mazda DPI program, and then with Ford, whatever Ford's doing. So.
Let's talk a little bit about the future. We've got future regulations, we hope, are going to be confirmed on Friday. You've got a foot in all sorts of camps through Multimatic. DPI, obviously, with the Mazda program. I'm sure there's other things in the pot border as well. What would you like to see emerging from the current, let's call it confusion of future regulations?
Yeah, everybody asked me that question, and certainly the ACO guys asked me, and then, I got Scott Atherton over at IMSA asking me, and my stock answer, and I'll give it to you, is that I can't be partisan. I got a company to run, and it's to other people to do the politics of, what does Larry Holt want to see? I want to see something where I got a customer's really into it and wants to hire me to do it. That would be my answer. I know that sounds a little mercenary, but that's really a way for me to keep all my guys employed. I can't be saying, there's a big push. They wanted maybe DPI to be would that work for me? That would work for me. Or an LMP or some hypercar thing, because I got my fingers in a lot of that. That would work for me. And if it has to be a GT4 Mustang program on both sides of the Atlantic, that works for me too.
Good stuff. So, we've got a race coming up this weekend. 4 cars in the hunt in GT Pro for your guys with the teams from both sides of the Atlantic. It's a competition with a huge amount of depth. You're a massive enthusiast about this one. Just tell me how you're mentally approaching the weekend and what you're looking forward to.
Well, 17. As you say, there's 17 cars that could win that class. I really do believe there is, and they're all run by outstanding teams. I think we have an advantage because we have 2 teams basically working as one, and both have strengths. And there's not many weaknesses left in either of these organizations, but any weakness that's in either of them tends not to be common. And then we've been able to, when they get together, it's a stronger 1 and 1's making 2.5, and I think. But this weekend, I'm going to tell you, it's about perfection. There's no way you're going to 2 minutes in the lane's going to throw you upside down. 2 minutes in the garage is going to throw you upside down. We got to be, one run into a slow zone or one penalty like that. That's going to put you back. Luckily, they're sorting out this. They're sorting out the safety car thing, so that because that was a bad deal last year against the Porsche. We went down way at the early, and we could hardly get that back, and it was a big fight all the way. I think there's a lot of positives there. There's a lot of positives with the cars, the way the cars have been running. We've got, from a durability perspective, as soon as I say this is the wrong thing to say, but the durability side of it, people keep saying to me, the paint jobs are fantastic, this livery is awesome. I go, hey, that's just paint. Right? That's not speed, and that's not durability, But we do have some durability. And the speed we're going to find out about, Wednesday, Thursday. Nobody was showing their stuff last Sunday. We'll find out. Well, I figure 10 after 10 on Thursday. That's when you're going to find out where everybody's at.
Larry, you've got a reputation for a number of things, some of which we can say on public radio, some of which we can't. But I'm going to ask you one. Student of the sports, you have brought these 4 cars here with some fantastic heritage liveries. If you had to choose one to mount on the wall at Multimatic, which one would it be?
I think it would have to probably be Starsky, the red and white one. It looks like the Torino from Starsky and Hutch.
That right there is a Larry Holt moment. Larry, thanks very much. Have a great week.
All right, mate. Thanks.
Here with Arjun Maini, who's racing with RLR in the LMP2 class this year. It's his first time at Le Mans. Give me an impression, Arjun, just what it feels like. You know, we're here at the start of the week at Scrutineering, and the fans are out. Fortunately, the sun's not out, but it's a big event, isn't it?
Nah, it's massive. Already, like, when you arrive for the test, you can start to get a feel of how big it is. And, it's amazing to be here. You don't realize just how big it is until you come and see for yourself. And a lot of passionate fans around, and looking forward to some great racing at the weekend.
Before I ask you about the test and about this week, give the listeners a little bit of a flavour of what this adaptation's been like to you from F2 going over into LMP2 class this year.
Well, it's been an eye-opener. I think anybody from single-seaters will probably tell you. And normally when you come from single-seaters, you're quite close-minded to other forms of motorsport. But once you get a taste of it, you start to realize that there's a lot more to motorsport than just one form of racing, which is sprint racing and single-seater racing. So it's awesome. I think I'm really enjoying my driving in prototypes a lot. And in the LMS, and obviously I'm for sure going to enjoy it here at the Le Mans 24 hours. But it's just made me a lot more open-minded about motorsport in general.
There's a little bit of a change in driver lineup for you guys at this race. Obviously, before you've had Bruno Senna in the car when you've been at ELMS, and now you've got Norman Nato. See, Bruno's been fantastic for you to get you into the groove, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's helped me a lot. To coming in from single seaters, there's a lot you have to learn about this type of racing, and Bruno helped me a lot, and especially through the Paul Ricard weekend, helped me throughout. Gave me tips and advices, and sort of was my driver coach in a way during the whole weekend, and I'm really grateful for that. And obviously here we've got Norman in the car, who's proved he is super, super quick. So it's exciting to have him in the team as well, and we'll see how it goes.
How prepared do you feel having raced in the ELMS's P2 class heading into this one? Because that's obviously a huge field in the ELMS, and a big part of this record 62 car grid here at Le Mans is LMP2 this year.
Well, I think I feel quite ready, to be honest, because I think ELMS itself was really, really competitive this year. And so I think we sort of got a flavour from what we can expect. Obviously, there's a few more top teams from the WEC that are here, and to be honest, I'm quite excited to get racing. I think we have a good chance to try and get some a good results here. But obviously, just want to take it step by step. So we'll see how it goes first in the practice and the qualifying, and then we'll take it from there.
Tell me a little bit about the test day. What's your first impressions of the circuit? Getting used to driving with Norman in the team.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it took me some time to get used to the circuit. Usually you feel like you can get into it in a session or two, but it took me at least until lunchtime to sort of get a good feel and feel confident enough to push. Also, I think the circuit wasn't in a great state during the test day. I think the grip was quite low in general, so that was quite tricky. And obviously the main objective of the test was to get John and myself as many laps as possible, because Norman's been here before. Obviously it was great to have Norman back in the car, because he shows straight away he gets in the car and he's quick straight away. So there's always data you can compare between me and him where we can see where we can improve. And so this is normally quite important. And that was good.
Did you find at the test that you actually got some time to enjoy the circuit, or was it just so much other stuff to do that that's still to come?
Nah, I think if you're not enjoying it, there's no point being here. I enjoy every lap of what I've done in LMP2 this year, whatever circuit, but driving in Le Mans was special, definitely special.
How did you find the ARCA and its slightly different air configuration here for Le Mans? Was that easy to get used to?
We actually had a test in Monza where we tried it for the first time, and it wasn't that different. So to be honest, it changes the balance around a little bit, and you have a bit less grip overall, but it's not massively the thing to get used to.
Final question is also about the work that you've got to do here with John, because a big part of this effort is making sure that he's as up to speed as possible. And you being new here as well, you're going to have to help out anyway.
Yeah.
How's he done so far, and what's the sort of expectation and target for the race at this point?
Well, at Monza he was, in my opinion, the quickest bronze, or one of the quickest bronzes. So I think he needs to get into the groove of LMP2 driving around this circuit. And what I like about how John takes his time to get into it, but when he gets into it, he can really get going. So I'm quite confident that he can do a good job. And obviously, we just the weather's not looking great at the minute, to be honest. So that's the only thing that's putting question mark. But if it remains sort of dry, I'm sure we can get John up and running, and I think he can be quite quick.
Well, next up is another of the, and he's going to hate me for this word, veterans of this race, Jorg Bergmeister. But Jorg, this is a bit different. 17th or 18th start there. He's got to think.
I believe it's a 17th.
17th.
Now, yeah.
But this one's different. And this one's different because you're in line for a championship win. And that does make this a bit special.
I don't know if it's... you can't really think too much about the championship at this point because it's still, I believe, 39 points to be gained. We're 23 points ahead. So we just have to do our thing, and then at the end it's Le Mans. You still have to finish here, which is difficult enough, and we will see what we get at the end out of it.
It's been an extraordinary start for this programme with Project One and Park Place Motorsport and the WEC. It's been a season with lots of twists and turns, the controversy we've seen from Christian's team with Dempsey Proton. But you guys have just shown speed and consistency throughout. I mean, we know the quality of Project One, but has it been a surprise how competitive you've been?
Not really. When we first started the program, we sat down, or when we had the first meeting with Patrick and Hans Bern and the guys, they were saying, yeah, the first year will be a learning experience. I said, no. If we do it right, and we need to be competitive from the beginning on. Yes, we had a bit of a learning experience the first two races, I'd say, but from there on, I think we were very competitive, consistently on the podium. Last race, we were a bit unlucky in Spa with yellows and so on, or safety cars and so on. But I think in general our pace is good, and hopefully we can have another strong result here.
There's probably no better man on the planet to ask how this current 911 RSR matches up to some of the iconic Porsche GT cars from the past. You've driven them all, you've raced them all, you've had success in them all. Tell us a little about the RSR.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a great car. You can definitely feel that the car is better in pretty much every area. There's a lot more downforce compared to the previous model, and just, yes, with a different engine position, obviously helps the handling a bit as well. Traction is not quite as good at what it used to be, but again, due to the mid-engine, we have more flexibility on the aerodynamic design of the car, and that really is a big improvement also here, even though we run a lower downforce setup here. But through the Porsche corners, it's a lot of fun.
I guess the other part to the package is this is a Pro-Am Formula. You're in GTM, epic field. You're clearly working with Patrick. I've been for, how many years now with Patrick? 3 years?
Patrick, when did we first drive together? 16?
16.
Yeah,
16. It's been a while.
Yes.
A little bit from the kind of Pro-Am aspect about how friendly that car is for the less professional driver.
I think, well, obviously on the setup, we're always trying to find a good compromise between speed and how easy it's to drive. But both Patrick and the GDU are doing a really, really good job on how they perform and how they handle the car. They both make very little mistakes, and I think that's the key.
Final question is, Project One have told us they're back. They've told us they're back with 2 cars. Are you guys going to be part of that program?
I hope so. At the end, I'm just one of the spacers, right?
Talk to us a little, just to finalise. We've got a very good grid of GT cars through GT Pro and GTM.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what we expect. It's going to be busy out there.
Yes, we'll be very busy. And I think key will be to stay out of trouble and not make any mistakes. And I already told the guys last year, if we don't make a mistake, we will end up on the podium. Unfortunately, last year it didn't quite work out. We try the same approach again this year and see what happens, I guess.
Fingers crossed if we can see that run carry on and come back with that championship. You're good.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, man.
I'm here with Nicki Thiim, Aston Martin Racing. Now, we know, Nicki, you're a pretty quiet, reserved guy who never really has anything to say, so I'm not expecting this to be a long interview. But give me an impression of what you think this race is going to be like in Pro, because, my goodness, it looks like this is a golden year again.
Yeah, again, it's for sure the show to watch. It's better than to watch two Toyota Aigos go at it at the front. So for sure, with 17 Pro cars, right now looking like the SJO got the BOP right. Last year was a disaster, to say the least. But this year looks like everyone has a shot at it, and I just hope for a good race and a good show. And again, last year was catastrophic for us, without saying the least. But at least we'll be able to drive for it. That would be nice, and it looks like everyone will have a shot at it. So that's good.
How different is the team's approach this year now that you don't have that feeling of we've got to do Le Mans in only the second race for the new car? You've had pretty much a whole season now of racing under your belt with the new Vantage AMR. How much better does it feel this time round?
Yeah, of course, made big improvements here and there. Last year we had a lot of small things here and there that we first figured out after the race. So of course we improved that, and that's just normal with a new car, I guess. And this year I think we will have much bigger chance as a team. The whole team just shot into it. We've been working for months to go here, and I would say we got 2 wins out of the last 3 races in the WEC. So I think it shows the potential that we are going to be up there.
Sum up the season so far for you guys. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, hasn't it? You managed to get a couple of wins under your belt for the team, one a piece for each car, but it has been very up and down when there's been some lows and some highs in the results tally.
Yeah, again, coming with a new car, it is hard. We are driving for the World Championship, and you cannot expect to go up against manufacturers like Ferrari, Porsche, and etc. And didn't come here and expect to win right away. And what did we do? I think we did. It was the 4th race, and we already got a win with the car. I don't even know if there's any other brand who done that. Like Porsche, spent almost 2 years to get a victory with their car. So it just shows the effort I put into it. But yeah, it has been quite a weird season. Also on top of that, with the super season, and knowing that the next season is already going to start in 1 month until Silverstone starts. 1 or 2 months, I think.
A couple of months.
Yeah. So it's you don't really have this winter break. It's just straight onto it again.
Around here in the Vantage AMR, this is obviously a very different circuit to the other ones we go to on the calendar. It's got its own characteristics. What's the sweet spot in terms of conditions that you guys will be hoping for? Is this car at its best when it's cold, when it's hot, when it's dry, when it's wet? What would you like if you had the choice?
Yeah, I don't think it's a secret to say that rain would be nice for us. The car works incredibly good in rain, and that's also where we are eagle on the tire development side, because we were a little bit late with everything at the start of the super season. We struggled a little bit with tire development, and nothing towards Michelin at all. It's just a regulation that you cannot keep bringing new tires to the series, which is good. But yeah, we've been struggling all season to keep the long runs up and running with our tires. But again, as you say, Le Mans is a completely different story. Everyone is driving a different aero kit compared to the normal season, and with all the straights, it's just it's a different type of tire wear. Also going on a normal road course.
You're obviously driving here with Marco, who's your partner in crime, full season, but you're welcoming back Darren Turner to the lineup for you in the Dane Train 95. What's it like working with him, racing with him? He's just done this for so long. He's got so much experience. I imagine it's just a seamless transition for him to come and step into your car.
Yeah, it's of course it's best to have Darren, but to drive like everyone else, like Marco and me also have a lot of experience here now, and it's just building it up and keeping everyone motivated. And of course, Darren is probably one of the best driver you can have, especially on a GT car with the experience you have, knowing when to do certain things and staying calm around it. We've been together for a couple of years now, and that's probably how you want. It's like a soccer team. You get to play together. You understand each other, and you know what is the good and the bad thing, not only internal as a driver, but also as a team. When to put each driver in and when you need it.
I've already seen it in the campsites and around the local areas. The Danes, as always, have turned up in force to support you guys. They always do. They get really behind their home nation drivers. How much do you enjoy coming here and soaking that up, the amount of excitement that you give to the huge amount of people that come from Denmark to watch this race?
It is of course something special. It is probably the biggest race for us as the Danish drivers, as you say, that Tom brought the whole crowd, the Danish crowd, towards this place, and it's an honor to see that it stayed here. We were a little bit afraid that it would go away when Tom retired, but it just kept coming, and thanks to his brother and all the camps out there doing a great job to also sell it, and it is for them as much a festival than it is the racing. So it's just having fun for a whole week, I guess.
I'm here with Tracy Krohn, who's back this year for a 14th consecutive year with Nick Johnson. And this time he's in a Dempsey Proton Racing beautifully prepared Krohn Green Porsche. Tell me, you still enjoying this as much as you did the first time?
I enjoy it even more. Just being here, this is my favorite race on the planet, so just being here is really exceptional. But to be here with Nick all these years is even better. We've had different experiences here. We've had some good years, we had some bad years, but I mean, it's always great to be back at this track. This is such a different race from anything else in the world.
We're in a Porsche for the first time in a long time. What's it like, the 911 RSR? How are you finding it?
It surprised me because I've driven a lot of Porsches over my career. And normally you come into a corner, you slam the brakes on, you intentionally rotate the car, get back on power, and then hope that it holds, right? So it's a little bit of an act of faith to drive that rear-engine Porsche. But this one is very different. It's a mid-engine car, so you expect a better balance in the car, and it has it. It's very sensitive to adjustments, so it's very close to where it should be all the time. So you don't waste a lot of time making a bunch of changes to make the car change and get better.
You've got Patrick along with you, alongside you and Nick this year.
Yeah.
That's going to be great fun, right? Because he's somebody you really want as part of a team. He knows what he's doing around here, doesn't he?
Patrick very well knows what he's doing. Well, Patrick knows what he's doing, period. But particularly around here, I've competed against him for so many years. It's a pleasure to join up with Patrick. He's a very consummate professional, as is Nick. So it's great to have both these guys in the car as well.
Did you ever think that you'd be able to get a streak together like 14 straight years with Nick? Has this always been part of the plan, or is this something that's just happened?
No, it was never initially a plan. It was like, okay, we're going to go to Le Mans. And first year we were leading in a Porsche, by the way. It's the last time I drove a Porsche here. We were leading by 6 laps with about 10 hours left, and we had a shunt bad off with one of the other drivers and totaled the car and damn near killed him. But we did very well with the car, and here we flash forward 13 more years, and here we are back in the Porsche. So I expect good results. We had a good test while we were here. The car is it's not hard to drive. It's very simple to drive, actually. If it's simple to drive, it's not simple in the way that it performs, however.
What stands out to you from your 13 years of running this race? Have you got a couple of memories to share, especially the years that you ended up on class podiums and stuff like that? There must be some that stand out, right?
Yeah, the thing that stands out is that every year that we were on the podium, there was an element of rain in the race. So don't know if that happens this year, but when it rains, I'm always pretty happy about it.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's going to rain. Well, whether during the race, who knows?
Yeah.
But How did the test day go? You feel like you're up to speed now with the car and ready to go now? Because it's only obviously a couple of days until we actually hit the track for real.
Yeah, I feel very comfortable in the car now. We had a little bit of problem initially with the seat, getting the ergonomics right. And I'm taller than most of the drivers. This car was not particularly built for taller people in mind, but we overcome that, and now I'm very comfortable in the car, not worrying about ergonomics of the cockpit. Now I can focus on making a better drive and going faster.
Perfect. Well, I hope you have a fantastic week, Tracy.
Coming towards the end of day 2 at scrutineering, and Jeroen Bleekemolen here with the wins-backed first ever privately entered Ford GT. Jeroen, you've had test day, you've had a little bit of testing with the car. Tell us a little bit about this car, how it compares to the other GT cars, long list of cars you've raced down through the years.
It's a great car. It's really fun to drive, and the support we're getting from Ford Performance and the Ganassi guys is amazing. They're really helping us out with setup and everything we need to know. So I think we'll be straight up to speed with the car. We had a good test first at Sebring, where Ben and Felipe and me did many laps, and it was really good. And then we did the test day here without any issues, so we're really excited. It was going out with the Ford the first time gave me a pretty special feeling. You just feel that it's a special car, and then at this track it was really cool.
Looked like a test day with absolutely no risk, just finding out what that car, I guess, could do, and not just regular lapping. What was the plan at test day, and how are you going to ramp things up towards the race?
Yeah, we didn't want to put too much mileage on the car. We had already some race parts, some suspensions and stuff, so we just did our laps until we all got comfortable, and the car felt good. And I think also there will be some rain in qualifying, so we'll see how that goes. But I think we want to minimize the running and keep the car nice and clean, and hopefully do a couple of good laps so that we can start pretty far up the front, because the racing is so close now that it does make a difference. Even though it's a 24-hour, I think it makes a big difference to be starting near the front.
Little doubt the Fords this year are going to be fan favourites, some great colour schemes. I think yours probably top of the pile, though. Those wind colours really pop on the Ford GT.
Yeah, it's so nice. We get so much nice response, and everybody is talking about it, about the car, about the hats we have, about all the giveaways we have. So it's really cool.
Now, Ben's always come here and done something a little bit different. This is different again. We wait to find out what his plan might be with that car. I'm not going to ask you, because that wouldn't be right, but do you know?
No, he honestly doesn't know himself what the plan is yet. One of the issues is that the car is pretty expensive to run. He would love to run it in WEC, but the budgets are just so high that it's going to be almost impossible to put something together there. But if the chance is there to do Le Mans again with the car, who knows? We need to get an entry, of course. But I'm sure the car will race more than just this Le Mans. But how much, we really don't know yet.
Beyond the IMSA programme, beyond this programme, you've got a reputation for being in something quick more or less every week of the year. What else is on the cards for you in 2019?
Well, my programme cut short a little bit when Tim Peppas had his big crash at Bathurst. We were supposed to do around 10-12 races this year, and unfortunately he had to stop and recover, but luckily he's getting better, and he'll be back next year. But because of that, I had quite some weekends off, but I filled it up with GT Masters in Germany, so I'm doing that. And then maybe some other 24-hour races like Nürburgring and Spa. But at the moment, I'm happy with the IMSA program and this Le Mans program. It's a nice program.
Let's talk finally about this GTM class, and for that matter, the GT Pro class. A lot of experience here, a lot of success here you've had down the past. There does seem to be real quality and depth this year in both GT classes.
Yeah, it's going to be an unbelievable fight for the win. There are so many good lineups this year, good teams, really strong, and it's really a sprint race now. The cars should make it, all of them. It's only bad luck if it breaks down, so usually most cars will make the finish. So it's going to be pushing from the beginning until the end, and it makes it really exciting. But if you have one little hiccup during the race, 1 minute or 2 minutes, you've lost the race. So we've learned that last year. So we have to be perfect to win it, but we have everything there to do it. So let's hope we can stay out of trouble.
If it comes down to a sprint, and it often does, where do you think the biggest the biggest competition is going to come in this field?
I think the car that won last year is really strong. They have a really strong lineup, but there are 2 or 3 other really strong lineups as well. So I think in total there are like 7, 8 good M cars that have a fair shot, and they will all go flat out. So you have to do everything. You have to go flat out from the beginning, and I think we are in a good spot with Ben because he's always really quick. One of the quicker bronze drivers in the field. Usually he's the quickest or second or third, but he should help us out already a lot because he can make up time to a lot of other bronze drivers.
And I guess one of the cars you'll be keeping an eye on are your IMSA regular competitors at WeatherTech.
Yeah, it's fun. We know each other well, of course. I've raced with Cooper, I've raced Le Mans with Cooper, and it's fun competing against them, and they're really looking strong as well. They have Tony in the lineup, who is, of course, as quick as anyone in a Ferrari, so he's going to fly that thing. And then also their lineup is a good one. They have a fast bronze driver in the car. So it's going to be fun to fight them again.
Well, if you enjoy racing at Le Mans this year, half as much as we're going to enjoy looking at that car, let mind watching it, you're going to have a great time. Jeroen Bleekemolen, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
James Calado, Ferrari drivers going through scrutineering process at the moment. Sun's out, 17-car field in GT Pro, reigning world champion. What's your week going to dole out?
I have no idea. I think we're quite positive. I think our attitude is slightly better going into this race this year, than we were last year, because last year we really in our heart knew we had no chance. I think our approach is different. We've been helped slightly by the ACO or the FIA, whoever does the BOP. So we've got a little bit more power, a little bit less weight. We reckon it's around 4 to 5 tenths compared to the Porsche anyway. So that's going to help. Not to say it's enough, we don't know, but for sure we've improved in areas where we needed to improve. Setup wise, I think we were quite happy in the test, and so we'll see where we are. I mean, you know the way it works. People hide everything, and then not until Sunday or Saturday when the race starts, you know where you are within 2-3 laps. So.
One thing we do know in the GT Pro era is it's going to be a dogfight. At some point it's going to be a dogfight. At lots of points it's going to be a dogfight. And the odds are, because that's what we've seen every single year, is a Ferrari, and often your Ferrari is going to be part of that.
I hope so. Yeah, I it's been too long where I've not been fighting for a win in Le Mans, and it'd be nice to just be there at the end. And I'd love to see all the manufacturers behind me, of course, but at least close, because it makes it interesting, makes it fun, and it'd be the perfect situation really, just to be in the front. Reliability has always been an issue with us. It's something that we are focusing on more this time round. We've always had suspension damage, we've always had front splitter issues, so I think our approach as drivers as well is to try and look after the car, avoid the aggressive curbs, and try and keep the car in one piece. I think you'll find with a lack of straight line speed, it's so difficult to overtake the AM cars, and that's where we have to lock up, hit curbs just to try and get past. So honestly, that is an area where we need to try and just take it easy, take our time, and it's not just about pace, it's about strategy as well. So
we look at the entry list, 17 cars here, fantastic teams, great factory cars, a fantastic array of international talent in the driving squads. How do you guys look at this? When you're coming to this place for this race, the end of what's been the longest World Championship season and any FI World Championship, how do you guys approach this week? It's a long week.
Yeah, it's a long week. Obviously, I've got a bit of experience now. I just try and stay relaxed and enjoy it, because if you let the pressure of it all and the massive environment of it all get to you, then you start to lose the rag a little bit. So it's just about enjoying it, not taking it too seriously, honestly, and just doing the job that we always do in normal races. I think just with a slightly different approach in terms of it's 24 hours, not 6, so less risk. All the common sense stuff really. But yeah, I mean, I say that, but the previous years we've always had issues, so you never know what's going to happen. That's the thing. You just got to think of it as a step by step, hour by hour race.
We talk about this race now being a 24-hour sprint.
Yeah.
Is it? And is it 100%? 98%?
No, It's 99% every lap. You know, it's not like America where everyone bunches up and you've got a chance again. You need to be competitive every lap. You need to pull the gap. And it's not about just doing well in the last 2 hours as everyone thinks it is. It's literally step by step, hour by hour, just 5 seconds at a time, maybe 3 seconds at a time, just edging forwards. I think to lead from the start is kind of important because you can also play around with the strategy then. You can box earlier, you can play with things. So I think this year we might see qualifying slightly different than what we've seen in previous years. I think people will turn it up a bit more.
We said it's 17 cars. At the end of that race, let's just look forward. Let's say you go out on a high and it's a win. You look back, there's 48 other drivers that haven't achieved that. That is going to be one hell of an achievement for whoever comes forward and wins this race.
Yeah, and for us, me and Ale especially, there's no pressure. We've not won the championship, we know that. We can finish second. It'd be nice to be in between the Porsches because they know that they've got a quicker car than us. It's obvious. So to be in between them, you know, it shows our strength. And yeah, like we've just got to think of it like that. Really, just no pressure. Just try and win the big one. That's all we want. That's all I want more than anything. We all do. So that is obviously the main goal. It'd be like winning a world championship. It's the same sort of thing.
What's in the bank for next year? We're coming back for another World Championship season. It's back to a regular season. What can basically be fielded to deal with that Porsche challenge?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the plan is for me in terms of what I'll be doing, but it would be. I think we're going to start at a disadvantage for sure because we had 2 wet races.
Hello, Sunbird.
We had a lot of wet races, not a lot, but enough to affect the BOP quite heavily. Do you like that, mate?
It's being barracked by Sunbird here. It's
where was I?
Talking about next year.
Yeah, so I mean, we're it's not like Le Mans. We go back to what we were at Spa, which is nowhere in terms of performance. So it's going to be difficult next year. It's something that, you know, whether I want to do it, I don't know. I just like to see an equal playing field.
I've got with me Jorg Bergmeister from G-Drive Racing. This year he's here for the first time in the LMP2 class at Le Mans. And it's fair to say you've had a really good season so far racing in the ELMS and a bit of WC before you got here. How have you found adapting to the Oreca?
The Oreca is a great car, so it's giving me a chance to adapt very quickly. Also G-Drive making a fantastic car for every race, everywhere we go, every test. It always feels comfortable, gives you confidence. So adapting has been going very smoothly in that perspective. But then you go to a Le Mans, it's a completely different world. It's the speeds that you have here. There is no track like Le Mans. You can't compare it to anything. So, but even here, I felt good straight away.
Of course, it's not badged Oreca here. You've got down as an Aurus 01. Yeah. Does that bring any extra guests along with you? What's the feeling in the team? Have you got a bit of Russia behind you for this for the Russian flagged effort here?
Yeah, we have got great support coming from Russia, from Aurus. They bring quite a lot of guests for the race itself, and they just love to see the development going with the project, because there's no development going in the car. It's basically a rebranded Aurus, it's an Aurus developed by Oreca, according to the book. But they just like the whole being part of the endurance world. It's they're good people.
It's fair to say that the LMS season so far has been very kind to you. What's it been like working with guys like Jean-Eric Verne, and you've got Roman Rusinov in your car as well, 2 really high experienced guys to sort of help you get up to speed?
I just try to kick their ass. No, it's been great. They're really helpful because in the end it's a team result, so they also know that it's not that they are... sometimes you can have a teammate who is like, I don't want to help you because then you become too fast. And Jeff is old enough, he's proven himself, so he doesn't mind if I'm quicker than him or not. He's already bloody fast, and if you are able to match him, you're always in the right spot.
We know what this team can do. Historically, they've always been a front runner. Last year, they obviously didn't get the win in the end after some post-race dramas, but we know that on their day, they'd like to be, the best prepared team in the grid. Are you thinking about the win then, on that basis?
I'm thinking about nothing else but winning. So that's answering your question.
Yeah, it's a big P2 field this year. You gotta look at this and lap it up, because this is probably one of the best fields you've ever been a part of, right?
It's the biggest competition ever, but in the end we just have to drive our own race. And I think then after 24 hours you race each other, but even after an ELMS race after 4 hours, the field is already a little bit but you just don't want to get caught out with any mistakes, which can then eventually cost you 5 minutes, because then it's basically race over. It's that close. It's just about minimizing the mistakes, and don't worry about what others are doing, just worry about what yourself doing, and make sure that you make a flawless race of it.
Give us a bit of a sense of just how much it means to you being a part of this race, because it is a huge race, and there aren't many people who get this opportunity to do what you're doing.
Yeah, as a kid I always dreamed to do Le Mans. When you were like 8 years old watching the 24-hour on television, you're like, you see the big names from Holland going there, at least in Dutch common sense, like Jeroen Bleekemolen. I've been watching him for a very long time coming here, Jan Lammers. And then you are like, wow, it's quite cool. I would like to do that race one day. And then here I am, 20 years old, doing it for the first time. And hopefully many more will follow after it.
For those of you listeners who aren't aware of Job's career, this has come together remarkably quickly. Tell them a little bit about your journey to LMP2 and just how quickly you've managed to do that, because it's quite remarkable.
Basically I started when I was 15 years old with racing. I didn't do any karting at all. I just jumped straight into Mazda MX-5 Cup. From Mazda MX-5 Cup I went to Formula 4, which is a huge step. It's like 30 seconds a lap faster. I finished second in the Italian Formula 4, and then I made the move from Formula 4 to LMP3 because I saw no opportunity for me to go to Formula 1. It wasn't my dream. My dream was to become a Le Mans winner. So I went to LMP3, won the ELMS there, and got the call one day before we won the championship from David Leach that they wanted to test me the day after in Portimao, and that's basically how I ended up with G-Drive right now.
It's fair to say it didn't take you very long to adapt to prototype racing, because last year in LMP3 and ELMS you were an absolute force.
Yeah.
And it's already looking like that in P2. It looks like it comes so easy to you.
Yeah, it's. I just feel really comfortable for longer runs. I can be very consistent for 2 hours. I wasn't always that great for qualifying, or I was good, but I didn't have the 1-2-10s that you need in qualifying, but I have the 1-2-10s in 2 hours, so that's fine.
Fantastic. Well, have a great week, Job.
You're welcome.
Christian Reid, we're in the sunshine now after the pouring rain a little earlier. Great to have you back. Defending champion at the Le Mans 24 Hours. That's a nice few words to actually say. But it's been an odd season. What's your take on what the team and what you've been through over the last several months?
Coming back to Le Mans after winning last year, it's quite a good feeling, but also it's some pressure for everybody in the team, for the drivers and for the team as well. But actually, we showed last year we can do well, and I think competition is still good. Competition is very high in GTM. At the end, Le Mans is always the main thing is stay out of trouble, have a clean one, fuel and tires, and this is the way we like to do it again.
We're basically in European global terms now two what I would term super teams. They of course are with Ferrari, Dempsey Proton Racing, Proton Competition with Porsche. 4 cars across lots of different competition. You're already clearly planning for the coming season of the WEC. We expect to see you back there too. What can you tell us about the plans moving forward for the team?
Yeah, we like to come back to the WEC with 2 cars. We are doing the ELMS with 2 cars as well. So it's a similar program to last year, and it's good for the team, and it's for me it's the right amount of championships and races we're doing like this.
There's not much downtime. There's not many weekends away from racing for you.
Actually, with ELMS and WC, it's quite a big program. But also we do some karting in the family, which keeps us on the other weekends busy. And more or less is from March to November, spending all the time on the weekends on racetracks. It's a good thing.
Now, one of the features of your programmes over the last couple of years, and one of the delightful features of it, is we've got to meet some of the new Porsche talent. They're clearly getting their endurance start earned with Breton competition in your international programmes. That's helped you to take things a step forward.
Yeah, this was after Patrick Dempsey stepped down from racing himself. He still likes motorsport. He still likes to be involved in the program, and this was the next point to bring young talents coming out of the Carrera Cup or the Super Cup. The next step to the endurance racing, and it's going quite well. If you look at Anlauer, Matt Campbell, Caroli, they're doing a really, really amazing job, and I'm happy to be part of this program.
Final question is, we're going to see Patrick. Patrick gets the Spirit of Le Mans award this year. Do we describe team co-owner with you? Co-principal? How do we describe Patrick?
No, he's a co-owner of the team. As I told you, he really loves motorsport, and the only point he's limited is on time. So that's the main thing, that he's not able to join us more. But we are in contact during all the races, from preparing the cars to end of the race. He really loves the sport and really is a big part of it. And for us as a team, it's great to have a guy like him in the team.
Final question for me. It is about the Le Mans 24 Hours. That's why we're all here. But there is also the question of the WC Championship. It's been a topsy-turvy year for all sorts of reasons. But remarkably, you come back with, is it 3 race wins on the bounce? And and now back in title contention. It could happen here.
Yeah, it's very theoretical, but at the end, I think we showed we had a great pace and the speed was there. We won 5 races out of 7. Even the last 3 races with Shanghai, Sebring and Spa, we showed that the performance is there, the car is good, the team is perfect line up, and everything is working well there.
So now it comes down to other people's luck and yours too.
Yeah, we have to see.
See whether or not you can make it 200 pounds. Christian Reid, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome, thank you.
Well, so the end of day 2 at the Passage, the scrutineering process for the 87th Le Mans 24 Hours, the end of the 2018-19 so-called super season of the FI World Endurance Championship. We're going to wrap up, myself and Stephen Kilbey, again with thanks to the Justice Brothers and to Cooper Tyres, and of course with our sponsors for the today at Le Mans, Ginetta Cars. I said already, some exciting news coming from them at the end of this week. But Stephen Kilbey, there's a myriad of interviews in the podcast today, 40 cars going through the Place de la République in this pretty unique event. Lots of storylines emerging.
Yeah, I think there's plenty to look forward to this week. I mean, a lot of people are talking up Friday, which is when we're going to hear a lot about the stuff that's coming in the years to come with the ACO press conference and everything that's going to bring, but also this race. And I think we've had a lot of people maybe talking it down a little bit, but today I think we've heard people talking it up, and especially in the GTM class, in the Pro class and in P2. All these guys seem to think that their class is going to be the best, the best it's ever been, and I think there's a really good case for that. They're all strong. There's been some fantastic runs in the test day, which has encouraged a lot of people, and I think we're going to see a really good race outside of P1, whether or not the Toyotas do have the fight with the privateers.
It's a perfectly fair point. Certainly we've spoke to a number of people in LMP2. United Autosports going through today. Lots of the GTO Pro cars going through today. Really interesting stuff from Larry Holt, by the way, about still there being potential for us to see those 4 GTs back out somewhere, sometime. And GTM, it is, if you like, the lowest of the classes in terms of the status it's given, but it's a class with real potential for some close racing through the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and particularly with mixed conditions expected.
Yeah, I think the weather's going to be a big factor this week. Nobody seems to really have a firm grasp of what we're going to see, but I think it's pretty clear that we're going to get rain at some point, especially during these sessions before the race. And for a lot of the teams that are pretty new to the circuit or new to their cars, they haven't really had a lot of dry running because the test day for a lot of them was quite disrupted. So them going into a dry race after lots of wet running in practice and qualifying could throw up some interesting surprises, couldn't it?
It could indeed, and I guess the final word should go to the LMP1 class. Written off by a lot of people before we came here this week. It's a Toyota's race to lose, they said, but then Toyota have actually made a bit of a career of losing this race down through the years, and it's very easy to forget that in the wake of the dominance that we've actually seen. Let's wait and see what the great race brings. We said it before, we will continue to say it again. The race decides who wins, not Toyota, not anybody else. Whether or not that's going to come down to the weather gods, whether or not that's going to come down to reliability, an on-track incident or two, or whether Toyota will again produce the kind of crushing reliability and performance that rightly earned them the win at the Le Mans 24 Hours last week. Lots more storylines to come tomorrow, Stephen, and you're going to grin when I say this, is technically a day off.
Yeah, but it isn't really, though, is it? Not for us, certainly in the press room. We've got plenty of stories to work on, haven't we? And although there's no track action, we're pretty lucky that there isn't, because we're going to spend all day tomorrow making sure that you listeners and readers have plenty of stuff to lap up before we get on track on Wednesday.
Absolutely. We'll be bringing you another edition of the day at Le Mans from the paddock at the Le Mans circuit. We'll be setting up shop in the media room and in the TV compound for my duties later this week. Tomorrow, that's our job. And that will be one of the days every single year where you look at your watch and all of a sudden it's 7 p.m. and where did that day go? For now, and again with thanks to Cooper Tyres, with thanks to Justice Brothers, with thanks to the good people at Ginetta Cars, this has been the day at Le Mans. This is Le Mans. I'm Graham Goodwin. He was Stephen Kilbey. We'll speak to you tomorrow.